Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Assets and Facilities Committee meeting on Monday, the 27th of July, 2026. I'm going to take that the information is read. Just one note, please. Mobile phones, switch to silent if you haven't already done so.
Right, okay, so I don't find anyone there, but it's easier to turn it off and just I'm trying to get it into read.
Okay. Yeah. Apologies for absence. We have one, I believe, on your Lloyd.
Okay.
Declarations of interest. Anyone?
No.
No. Dispensation? No. Minutes of the last meeting then, held on the 1st of June 2026. All read them?
There's one slight correction, if I may. 393 community units, the last bit. Councillor Atkins asked about some money and this should be looked into. What Councillor Atkins actually meant, even if she didn't say it, was the possibility of drawing down some TDC matched SIL money, which is now available in a particular fund. And this will be looked into further because it's not our SIL money, it's their SIL money. And that's a new fund that TDC have set up. So it's important that the difference is made there. That's not, if you didn't know, you didn't know. You know, it's one of those things. I think that was all on that. Yes.
So apart from that amendment, can I propose it?
Oh,
So that's community use. I wasn't here. Can I just ask, have we got an update for the final report here? Yeah, for the sign off. I wasn't here, but I'm just asking. The community units, do we have a date from them yet?
We've got a verbal report later on.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I do apologise. Okay.
Right. Okay. Apart from the.
I'll propose that's a,
You'll propose
yes,
it,
I'll propose it as a correct record of that amendment, please.
Seconded, please. Dan. Those in favour?
I wasn't here, so.
You abstaining,
I'm
Councillor?
abstaining.
Over to you then.
Okay, you first then. Toilets. Lower Brook Street is all but finished. Changing places toilet is in. We have a contract meeting on Wednesday. And we're now getting down to the nitty-gritties of LADs, which is damages and variations. So we would expect Lower Brook to open within days, unless we learn something on Wednesday as to why it won't. What may have to follow is the access arrangements to the changing places toilet. It will be via a keypad, via a bureau, so you'll have to ring up and say, I want to go to the changing places toilet. The reason for that is if someone vandalises it, that's 20 grand, as opposed to £1,000 when they used to vandalise a disabled toilet, which is the very same reason why we don't have radar keys, because everybody has a radar key, sadly. So other than that, all the others are functioning, money is coming in, there is quite a quantity, particularly at the point of people frustrating the payment mechanism. But we'll deal with that when we're able. There's also been a complaint about the smell coming from the point. We went down when the complaint came in. It's not coming from toilets, not coming from inside the toilets, should I say. And there are a number of potential sources down there. The old toilet block, on a daily basis, people would urinate and defecate on the steps, which of course, while we were maintaining those, we cleaned every day. That is now Tinbridge's responsibility and we're not doing it. You also have food outlets, camper vans, people sleeping in vans, using the local drains for disposal of all sorts. Given that we've had no discernible rain for weeks, none of that is getting washed away anywhere. So I passed it to Paul Nichols at Tinbridge, and he has disseminated it to the various parts of Tinbridge that would deal with it. I have subsequently had a letter from the MP saying that the lady who made the complaint hadn't been replied to, so I forwarded him my 3 replies and explained the course of action and that it was with Tinbridge, where it is still a council, of course. So that's it pretty much on toilets. We've got the delight because they are paid to pay. We have no argy-bargy this year about people paying for toilets for events because we just for the carnival have extended the opening time by an hour on the basis that they get used, we get money. So there's no difficulties there that we might have had in previous years. And I would suggest probably by the next meeting we might have some sensible revenue figures that they're all bringing in money and pretty much in the proportions you would expect according to the sizes. So, but like I say, particularly at the point, I spent quite a lot of time watching the point, and the people that are frustrating the payment mechanism are locals. But we will decide how we deal with that.
Are we still getting cards for residents?
Yes.
Yeah. Are they on their way?
They're available to purchase in town.
Oh, we've got them now. Yeah. I must have missed that. You said that at the last meeting.
Yeah, no, they're available, and there are people probably remember off the top of his head the outlets they're available in. We also have Tinbridge and Devon both wanted sets of cards for their employees, and some of those have been picked up. Devon picked them up, didn't they?
Devon picked 2 up, yeah.
Yeah, 2 lots. So, say you were a Devon County Council and your traffic wardens needed somewhere to be, they can purchase a card with anything above 50 uses on for a 20% discount and then recharge them when they run out. Tinbridge pick those up?
They haven't confirmed how many they want.
They are available, and the public ones, we've had to have a second supply thereof.
There's a notice actually on the toilets telling people where they get them from.
Sorry, I haven't been here very much.
In fact, I want to add another one that
You are selling public ones here as well, aren't you?
No.
You're not selling the public ones, that's just
Because
our.
we have no means for accepting cash.
Right.
That was rather the point, that the people that are going to use them, one would assume, will be cash users, and they can obviously, when they go to whichever shop, pay for it in cash. Yes.
Is it certain shops they're available from?
yes. Well, first of all, the cones on the promenade.
Yeah.
The pantry in Bank Street.
Yeah.
Did bits in Wellington Street. 4 candles in Regent Street. The bakehouse.
Yeah. That's fine.
And our place, Billy.
Okay.
But I want to add naughty but nice as well. Can I just add in, do we know when the framework will be around the back of the den?
Right, so the update on that is we found the initial contractor that we was going to use had let us down previously because he was working on the railways, and every time a railway job come in, we got second best street. So we found another company called Clifford's Friends, and yeah, it's not related to the ex-facilities manager. And he's now got the same problem with the galvanisers that are prioritising work, and that's all we're waiting for is the actual railings that you walk across to be galvanised. Now, I was chasing him actually while I was on holiday, and we were supposed to have an update by the 27th, which we haven't got, and I've been on the case since I've been back. So it's a priority to get it done, and he's embarrassed, we're embarrassed, but it's all held up by the galvanisers. Once we get an update, I shall obviously keep you guys updated before the next meeting, but that's where we are with it. And it seems to be that whoever we use seems to have that same philosophy. That the work, because we're obviously not a big contractor and it's a small job, they're keeping their bigger contractors happy, and if they're shouting, we're getting pushed to the back of the pile, which I believe is happening. And there isn't too many of them we can find. I struggled to find one. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, we was using the Chatham Dawlish because we try to keep the work local. And as much as they were, I mean, the work they did was fine, but it was just the time it was taking to get anything done. It was, I'd say, embarrassing to us all, but our hands are tied on that one, I'm afraid, Keith.
No.
He's had that for several months.
Yes. And funny, when I obviously was looking for this, putting it out to finding the 3 quotes, I actually discussed that. So it's so important we get it done on time. We've been held up by one part of it, which is the galvanising.
Yeah. That's the bits we walk on.
Yes, yeah.
What about the gates at either end? Are they still in track to come through?
Yes, yeah.
I understood they were going to be bespoke made, which you couldn't do before.
There will be a railing where the building ends and to take you out to the grass, and that's currently being designed because it has to meet a certain British standard because of the highway involvement. So we brought added structural engineering on that. But again, that's going to have to be galvanised. So. Although it may come from our country, so they may have different fare.
So I think then we've only got one major galvaniser in the area, haven't we?
Well, for a friend of near Cliffs, he makes trailers at Dunk as well. All his galvanising goes to South Wales. Because that's what you have to do.
Can I be a girly, please? What? I can't remember the science. I'm sure I knew at some stage. What is galvanising? It's treating it to make it.
No, it's 2 kinds of galvanising. This is hot dip galvanising, which is the most resilient. You can get galvanised paints and you can galvanise plate it, but that wouldn't last very long down there.
Sort of stop it from rusting.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
That's what I thought it did, but I couldn't work out how they did it anymore.
Yeah, so they basically dip it in molten gold.
It's a zinc coating on steel.
Thank you.
We can make them in stainless steel and pay about 6 times the price.
Yeah.
And the rest,
This is like tannalised larch from timber.
stainless is,
That's got through the roof now.
I know the quartz costs so much now.
Right, everybody happy on toilets? Well, everybody happy on toilets, yeah? Community units then, please.
Okay, we have instructed, as you may recall, procurement consultant and quantity surveyors. They're working up costing at the moment, and I will have a timeline certainly before the next meeting as to getting the tender out and prices back. One downside at the moment is cost of insulation, because it's oil related, is gone through the roof, and quantity surveyors would advise you to wait if you can, but we will carry on because it doesn't mean we can't revisit that particular part. So we would hope to have within less than 2 months be ready to get the prices in and see what we do next.
Quick question. You said before that the procurement consultant was going to look at the open book process.
Yeah.
Is that where we're going ahead with?
No. So open book is you pick your contractor and instead of it being done on a competitive basis, they share their finances with you. So they say, we're going to make 20%, 30%, whatever it is. And I've done them 2 before, some work at the theatre and at a school, and it works well. Government procurement doesn't lend itself to it, but where we are more likely to end up is, whilst it would be open to others, there are 3 contractors, one being local, a significant contractor locally, although most of their work is obviously not in Tinder, and a couple of others that have done similar jobs in the last year, sort of steel frame. So we would hope to get 3 competitive quotes from those, maybe some others, but we need 3 of them.
Will that go on like a universal
Government
tender?
tender fund.
That's it. Thank you.
Which is where the chocolates went.
Cheers.
But they will be already interested, shall we say.
Yes.
Whether we just put it on tender finder, it rather depends who's looking at the time.
Any more questions on it? No. Triangle management then?
No,
That's right,
Oh,
we
notice
think.
board, yeah. Notice
Yeah,
board,
sure.
yes.
Right,
it's like double it.
so the notice board is obviously arrived as we're aware. Right, so we had John down last week because what we had to do is to get a bespoke notice board would cost the council an extreme amount of money. So what we thought was an off-the-shelf notice board, and the brackets lend themselves to be reduced. So we reduced the bracket size last week, painted it. We've got brackets ready to go which have been painted, so I'm hoping that the plan is that we get that notice board up this week. Fingers crossed that there's no other complications, but it's going to look really nice and it's going to be a lot cheaper than getting the purpose. I mean, to get a purpose built on.
And once it's up, because it's got a natural board on the top of it, I think we get Town Council put on that from some signs, and you're going to administer it. Yeah.
I think I'm going to say the triangle, where in the triangle?
No,
this is like
we're
Oh, the bowling
Town-
club,
town
sorry,
bowling,
pay attention.
on the edge of the Den Bowling
Yeah,
Club,
yeah,
There's 2
on
posts.
the Revere side.
Yeah.
There's 2 posts, and there was a notice board that had gone before I even started working here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Remembrance to go,
no, well,
anyway.
we've replaced it with a suitable unit that is weatherproof, waterproof, and all the rest of it,
And secure.
and secure.
Unsecure.
That's important.
Can I just add one in on that, because it didn't get on the agenda, but it's an update on the street signs for the station. Because it's an add-on to the old toilet signage update, which, sorry, I've jumped on the accident, isn't it? No, it didn't work otherwise. That's right. I said I'd look into finding out if Great Western Railways, it turns out, have got any money on grants. They do, but they're closed for this year. So I've put my name on their list to be informed, and I need to have another look back there about what else is there, because that was community grants, because I thought I remembered that they did do community support, and they
This is
do.
for them to put up a.
Well, for us to fund, yes, and whether they have any
any.
particular template that they use, or, you know, they'd supply us with something or whatever. I went through Network Rail, and of course I got the wrong one, didn't I? But they answered me immediately and said, we're referring it to GWR, who have done nothing. So I've actually just looked that up yesterday, because I thought, well, that's funny. I thought, well,
So is it calendar year it's shut for, or financial year?
it just says they are closed for 2026, so make of that what you will.
Might open in January.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, I certainly have asked to be put on their mailing list for anything really at any time that comes along, and explained what it was for. And while I was there, I also asked them, and I suspect this is the wrong lot again, about a lift access at the station. Because last time I explored that, if you remember, access from and to platform 2 for anybody in a wheelchair or with mobility problems is out the back, round all the units, up through Lower Brimley, up the hill and down the ramp, basically, which is not really acceptable. And last time I asked, some few years back now, they said, well, you need to talk to the Department of Transport and get on their list, but you're not showing anywhere at the moment, because of course they're spending shed loads of money down at Dawlish.
Well, they put a very nice lift in at Dawlish. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, and I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the point that I've made this time is actually, if you want to encourage people to use this station to come to our town, which has precious little extra parking,
To the station listed.
I believe it is.
Then that'll be a bit of a hurdle.
Well, you know those bubble ones you can get that just go up? They don't interfere with the listing. You can get one that went
No,
up
but
and one
you
that
can
came
see
down.
it, so it interferes with the listing.
Not from outside you can't. if you did it inside the station,
Look at- Or
it's still gonna,
if you wanted to put a nail in the outside of this building, technically you have
it's
to
the
get permission.
doorbell, yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway, I'm on the track, I'm on the line for that, and I just wanted to make sure that was noted, so that somebody will pick me in next, goodness knows how long to see if that's come back yet. Thank you.
Triangles Management.
Triangles Management.
This sits with David Pelthorpe. I have chased him repeatedly after the initial agreement. And then his last reply, he said he was going to chase up the licensing team. To which I thought, I have no idea what this is. So he agreed that Teignmouth Town Council could have a license to manage the Teignbridge bits of the triangles pushing. So why he thinks the licensing department deal with that, they don't. It'd be someone in the States and more assets. It doesn't even need that. All it needs is a surveyor. You know, the license should be less than a page, really. It's like, we've got a license for the CCTV cabinet at the point. So I'm going to have to ring him up because that's got to be 3-4 months now since we had the provisional agreement.
It's Teignbridge tomorrow, do you want me to ask him to ring you and let you know, give you an update?
Yeah, because when he came back most recently and said that he was going to talk to the licensing team, I thought, no, that's licensing for like clubs and taxis and yeah. Because all I keep doing is saying, can you just tell me who's dealing with it? Because then I'll get straight onto them and we can get it done. But hey, yeah, if you do get the opportunity to have his ear, that would be good.
I will try,
It's always better than an email or a phone call.
absolutely.
Anything else on that? I don't know. Well, I think she'll get it in.
Well,
Christmas tree scheme.
Yeah. So we have had some money, £7.5 grand from memory, aside for 2 years. Yeah. So every year there are there are very few Christmas trees on the shops in town. I think several years ago we used to provide fresh Christmas trees, traders could buy one for 40 or 50 quid.
It used to be £45 erected, or put a kept the electric connected in a way, and taken down again.
So on the basis it would be beneficial to both traders and the town council, because we get ambassadors every year because there's not much in the way of Christmas decorations other than the Christmas tree. We looked at LED Christmas trees. So they come on when it gets dark and eventually at some point they will fade and then the next day they recharge, blah, blah, blah. There have been complications with putting brackets on shops, etc., etc. So we've went through this in some detail with our insurers. And the brackets, if they were at 45 degrees, can be sufficiently low that people can't reach them. So that way, they're not on the tenant above the shops part of the building. They'd still be on whoever is renting or leasing the ground floor or owns the ground floor. Our insurers would be quite content if our people put the brackets up where brackets don't exist. There are some brackets in town. Once they're up, they then become the responsibility of the building. And we would be covered under our insurance for putting them up, taking them down. So the idea being that at a predetermined time, sometime just before Christmas light switch on, I think, we get all the trees out of store, put them up, and away we go. And the theory being that we would charge a sensible amount of money, less than they were paying, so that in the first year we probably recoup 40 or 50% of our outlay, and then the second year we get the rest of it back, and then maybe the third year the residue. Storage We have storage space now available in the ceiling space of Lower Brook Street toilets, which is quite a big area. So that was put in as part of the toilets. Where we've never done this before is because we've simply always run out of time. We currently have Jared's replacement just started, and it may be something we could give to him before he gets too embroiled in all the day-to-day stuff to say, knock this off, also possibly salty sounds and other things that are held up. So it's rather, the money is sat there in the budget. Talking to the lighting contractor, that's the lighting contractor potentially for the seafront lights, as to whether they can supply these LED Christmas trees at 4 foot in length. And then I think that could look quite stunning. And it would be available to anyone. So if you want a Christmas tree on your shop, you just pay 40 quid, sign up for 2 years. You know, if you give up the shop in the meantime, we're not going to come chasing you.
Just for your information, we've got about 65 usable brackets.
Okay, well, that's a good start then.
But there's, again, just going over our ground, there aren't many in where they need to be in Bank Street and Wellington Street. In other areas of the town, it's not too bad, but Bank Street and Wellington Street.
And like I say, insurance-wise, it'd be fine for our guys to put them up, the brackets, and then subsequently the trees, put them up, take them down. Because we have, well, ever since the catenary wires had to be removed because they weren't insured. 2020, did that come down? Somewhere around then. But I think it would tick a couple of boxes, didn't it?
Yeah.
It would save us having to then look to what other Christmas lights we could do, because that would be pretty universal coverage. Still do the lamppost we do, perhaps with something a bit updated to what's currently goes out, which donkey's years old. If you think it's goable, we'll see if it's goable.
What about power or on the?
No, they're battery powered LEDs.
Brilliant.
Solar power, which is probably a sudden change, because if you went back a few years, it was, yeah, you're going to have to provide a socket and a time switch and all the rest of it. But I think LED technology and battery technology is sufficient now. You know, if they come on at 4 o'clock and they go off at 9 o'clock, that's more than enough. So if, like I say, money is there.
Do we have a choice between warm white and multicoloured and things like
You
that?
do. They're going to be done to match the Christmas tree.
Oh, right. So that's a runner, is it? We can do that.
I would caution against the other versions. White is a terrible colour.
Well, warm white's all right. It's
Yeah,
that
no,
bright
it's-
white light.
They do use warm white in Dawlish and it looks bloody awful.
Right,
We
okay.
want colours.
It's not cheerful.
No, we want colours.
Yes.
Multi-colours.
Thank you, Ganda.
But it might be worth looking to see if there's a price difference as well, I was
Yeah.
thinking, because I was thinking, right.
Same little man in China is making them.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, and that was always something else that we got caught with before, if you remember, that a lot of them, unless you order things sort of like January,
Oh, no.
they're likely to get stuck on a boat somewhere.
Well,
and just
I mean,
get picked
I
up.
can't guarantee we can pull it off.
No.
That's,
At least we're giving that a go.
yes. And we now have the storage space.
Mhm.
So, you know, they would be in town, go in the roof, come out again next year.
So do you need someone to propose?
Yes, that would be useful. So the money is already there.
I'll propose the Christmas trees, the LED Christmas trees.
I'll second it, please.
Who's going to break the news to him? He's only been here 3 days.
Ah,
Does he have a name?
Matthew,
Matt.
more Matt, yeah,
Does he prefer one or other?
Matt.
Matt, okay.
Right, look, Tim, that's.
Holly. This is Holly's piece of work. Loch Timor, just historically, is a domain that as existed and the outdoors was indoors. And when the CIC disappeared from anyone to go, we inherited those. Money was spent knocking about with it at both ends and nothing came to anything. And it's rather do something with it or finish it. Holly has put some work in. And I think what sparked bringing it back now is the work that Keir Duffy is doing. And we might be able to pinch some effort from him and some funding maybe, but I'll leave you with Holly.
Any questions on the proposal, really? It sort of very clearly outlines what the plan would be.
Just one thing, are there any restrictions as to who can be featured on this?
I wouldn't think so.
Right, okay.
They're a business within Teignmouth,
Yeah,
Free
they're
to
a
all.
club within Teignmouth,
Mhm.
then I wouldn't think there would be any restrictions.
I'd like to ask about the money. It says, plan cost is broken down £17 a month, that's £204 a year. Who's going to be paying for somebody to design it and put it together?
We would be doing it.
We would pay.
I would be
the
doing,
staff.
no, I would be doing the website.
Right, okay. So arguably, we need a register of all the shops then, I thought. Is that
So it
something-
would be a project that would span over 4 or 5 months, and within those 4 or 5 months, there would be a lot of communication with the chamber, with Teignmouth, with businesses. There would be maybe something that went round to every resident in Teignmouth, because if, for example, they're an architect but without a shop front, but they're a business in Teignmouth, we would want them to also be included. So it would be a case that everybody would be contacted, and that's why it would take some time to curate everybody together and make sure that everybody was communicated to.
And all your charities, your volunteer groups.
It would be a project that would span across everybody in Teignmouth.
And is there a fee for being featured on this site?
I don't think that that would be the plan at this point in time. There could be, as I've put in the, how you can advance the website. If it were to become bigger, then you could do advertising opportunities, but I would say at this point in time, we wouldn't be looking for any financial recompense to be on the website at all.
Did you manage to do a trial run on our distribution list that we've played with?
No, I looked through it and I think quite a lot of it is out of date, so I didn't want to do it knowing it was not out of date. So I think this would also become part of that work, so then it would be the one stop, and that was part of what triggered this process anyway.
Brilliant. There's one thing I did think ought to go on the maps, and that's the defibrillators. Because there are so many of them now, they're all over the place, but I mean, it can be as far away as miles if you don't know it's just down the road.
I think it's a great idea. The only thing I want to draw everybody's attention to is that we're sort of, to a certain extent, behind the curve now, because the new website has come on live on stream in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Explore Teignmouth, and it's doing exactly the same that you're doing here, but where you've got, to a certain extent, they are charging businesses.
Yeah, so the difference I think between, I've done a lot of looking into Explore Teignmouth, I think it's great. The difference with this would be, one, it would be free of charge for the community. The second thing would be, because it would be council-led, as far as I'm aware, there will always be a council, which means there's always going to be an officer who will always keep it up to date. The thing, if you do it as a business, as an individual, that individual could move, somebody might just become uninterested. This will be a piece of work that should never have a reason to stop being updated. So that's what I would say the big difference between a council doing it compared to a business side. But obviously, I do know that that's also come out very recently.
Who's done that on 50? No.
It's Cameron Pierce.
Isn't he one of the boys that came to see the chamber? It's just him though.
No, it's his company.
Oh, it's them. Right.
Any other comments?
And I guess in the discussions we've had with Holly, it would be get it worked up for the end of the year and then decide at that point, do you carry on, do you not carry on? And I think there's probably lots of things that it could do by calling it a hub. It's not just about businesses. It's got to be about all the volunteers. It's got to be about connecting different parts of Timoth together.
And hopefully it'll just grow over time. The one thing I would say is you pay for it annually. So if we agree, we would pay the annual fee. So it would be until this time next year that we would have it. Obviously, it might be a bit quicker than by the end of the year if I can get around to all of the clubs and charities and everything else and bring everybody together quicker. But the aim would be by then.
So does your plan cost include the cost of the domain name?
We already own the domain name, so
So
it's
we've
already
got that, and
purchased.
that's ours, no overage
Yes.
from Tinbridge.
No. When the CIC disappeared, either us or Dawlish inherited. So for example, they had quite a good, I don't know who drew it, a nice map of Timoth, but we own the rights to that now because it belongs to the CIC. It's now ours. So.
Is that the one with all the businesses on?
It would have had businesses on it, but I was more, I wasn't, how can I put it? It was visually quite appealing.
Was, yeah.
It wasn't like an ordnance survey, but it was out of scale, but not out of scale, you know what I mean? It was, and it was, you know, as part of this, I mean, you could have different maps. You could have a map printed with accessibility routes and defibs and that sort of stuff. But you could, you have them on a tear-off pad. So the black and white, you have them on a tear-off pad. You know, maybe there's only one kind of map originally, but then the kids colour them in. So if you're a parent, you know, you go in and say, where can I get X, Y, Z? And they go, take one of those and 4 crayons or whatever, and you colour them in.
Certainly that's what the Heritage Centre have been asking for some years, and they've had one made.
Well, for years, people have been asking for accessibility maps of Timoth. If you're a wheelchair user, how do you get around Timoth? Where do you cross the roads? Where, you know, there's all sorts of social, for want of a better word, as opposed to business need, and all volunteer groups.
Is there something available on accessibility needs? I mean, does Shop Mobility have something like that?
But they might, but I don't think, because Ed Troll was always asking about it, and I don't think I've ever seen anything. You know, if you get off the coach bar, and you're in a wheelchair, I mean, I know they do drop and see front some of the time. How do you get them?
We were going to do a
You can end up at the end of
council,
Regent Street taking your life in your hands.
we're going to do a council race or competition or whatever, starting at Shop Mobility in a wheelchair with a set of tasks to try and find out the routes as councillors in a wheelchair as to where we could or couldn't go. But I think that was Ed's idea actually, in that you would never know until you try how difficult it is. Just a curve can really do you in, because it can put you off balance, it can do all sorts of silly things. I mean, we could actually do that at some stage as an event.
We've got all the drop curves, but they're not in the right places.
Eric Morecambe style, isn't it?
I did tweet, because I was walking the other day, why the end of Regent Street is so dangerous. And they've got that sort of demarcation with different stone. You think it's a bloody pavement.
It looks like the extension.
Yeah, you walk and then there's a wall.
These highways have got a lot to answer for, because they started putting pretty coloured bits in some years ago, which I think, I don't know whether you might remember this, they put a red box opposite the end of George Street and it's not Waterloo Street, and they put silver things behind it, like you used to have on zebra crossings. And in France, it's called a passage cloutier. It's a zebra crossing as such. And so 10 yards from traffic lights, people were just gaily sailing out on this thing. And I thought traffic engineers knew better, really, but I think that didn't last very long. But there are still remnants of bits like this, which really give people the wrong idea who has access and who doesn't. A lot of them think the raised platform outside the pavilions gives people right of way, and it doesn't at all, it's just a
Well, there's only
sleeping
one-
police.
One crossing to the seafront,
I've been saying all along, there's only one crossing to the
outside the river,
outside the river. Anyway, any more comments? Well, I'd like to thank Holly for this work, because I think she's done, worked hard to get this, and, yeah, let's carry on and see what we can.
propose.
Yes, please.
I'll second.
So we're accepting the report and proceeding with its recommendations.
Yes, please.
Show of hands.
Anyone else?
Speaking of road engineers, do you remember when radio pages first came out? Pre-mobile phones. So the radio page goes, you're in the office. Well, opposite the Theatre Royal in Plymouth is a Pelican crossing. Yeah, and when you cross a Pelican crossing, when it's green to go, it goes beep, 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 beep. Yeah, someone stood with the radio pager, which went off, and the blind person just walked out when the lights were red. Yeah, he survived, but
Crikey.
I made some changes after that.
That's next meeting then,
That's
Monday,
Plymouth, though, you see,
Monday.
Wild West, Wild West.
Monday the 28th of September. Thank you very much.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.